Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I let M1 do the stock picking. I made a $100 deposit and I'm using Auto Invest. So where the money goes is based upon my allocations. And we can see here I have 3 slices within this portfolio, ETFs, dividend portfolio, and 12 more dividends. And we can see we're underweighted within the dividend portfolio. So that's where the $100 is going to go to. We'll see what those buys are in just a second. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Also, if you get any value from the video, please click the like button. What I'm showing you right now, this is my taxable one stock brokerage account. This is about 15% of my current net worth. And we can see here the chart just over the last year. And it's no surprise the stock market has been up. We can see down below here the money weighted return is over 31%. So we can see a year ago we were just over the $200,000 mark. And we can see now we're in the 270s. And of course we know why. We've had a big bump because of the election is over and people are betting on a better economy. You can see we were kind of slumping here in November. We didn't know what was going to happen in the election, I think, and we had that nice little bump here. So we'll see though if it carries through November and December. We just don't know. But I'm going to click on the activity log and we're going to see where this $100 went to. Again, it's going to be based upon my allocations. My Thursday, Friday video, I deposit another $100, but what I do in that video is I pick 5 stocks and I put $20 into each of those. We're also going to see the impact it's going to have on my dividend income as well. And we'll look at some historicals as well too. So here's the activity log. I had in the 8th, I had a dividend roll in from American Express. So $4.46. What I do with all my dividends is I reinvest them back into the company which paid them. So we're going to see a buy for $4.46 for American Express. So my $100 went into 3 companies. So I'll click here and we'll see where the money went to. So first up was Hershey's, $3.71. And then Merck, $44.21. And here's the American Express dividend drip. And then the majority of the money went to Pepsi at $52.06. And I'll show you the fractional shares that it bought. Even a tiny amount like $3.71, it does make a little bit of difference. So we'll also see what that does to the future dividend income for these positions as well. So the 371 bought me 0.02102 of a share. So obviously these are fractional shares we're buying with these low dollar amounts. And then Merck, 44.21, that bought 0.42864 of a share, so 42% of a share. And then American Express, this is just the dividend drip. They have a pretty high share price, so it only bought 0.01529 of a fractional share there. And then finally Pepsi with that 52.06 with the 165 share price, that bought 0.31539 of a share. Yeah, Pepsi and Hershey's have not been doing great, even though we've had kind of this big bump. They really haven't, they've been pretty flat, or Hershey's case been going down significantly. But I believe in the long term success of those companies. So what I'm going to show you next is we're going to go on over to my Google Docs spreadsheet. And just to walk you through this real quick, this shows all of the positions within the portfolio. There are currently 52 of them, but the largest position is in SCHD. You can see it shows the company, the ticker symbol, the share price, the average share price that I have purchased of each of these positions. Here are the shares I own in each of these. You can see like SCHD, I own over 3,500 shares. Here's the current market value if I were to sell each position today. Here's the cost basis. Here's my gain or loss. Here's my gain or loss in a percentage. Anything 25% or above is going to be in green. Here's the quarterly dividend for these. SCHD is purple because it's variable. Every quarter they announce a different dividend for most of these companies. They have the same dividend for three quarters of the year, and then they announce a dividend increase. And I also have two monthly pairs, which are O and BST in the blue. And we can see here we are so far in November with the dividends we've received. And we can see here's the current yield for each position. So if I were to buy more shares of Cisco, here's what that yield is, and here's the yield on my cost since I have purchased all of my Cisco shares at this average share price. And then everything in the sheet, it is arranged by the pay date, and we are obviously in November, so I've highlighted everything in green. These are going to be my November payers, and so far we've received $80.14 in the month of November. What I do is anytime I receive an update, for instance, when Yum Brands announces their next dividend payment, which is going to be roughly December 7th, most of these is just plus 3 months. They're just going to keep paying me over and over. Yum is not going to just pay me and then stop, hopefully. That does happen sometimes where a dividend is cut or suspended. But if that does happen to any of these positions, I will sell them out of the portfolio immediately. That's one of the rules that I have here. And so out here in the dividend paid, I've put the current dividend, actually the next dividend for Pepsi, what they're going to pay at the end of December, and they haven't announced their new dividend yet, so I have not put in the new date and sorted them within the December. So $15.89 is the current next dividend. We're going to see that go up for Pepsi, and then we have Merck at $9.58. We're going to see that go up as well as Hershey's is just going to move a little bit. Remember, it was like $2-3 is all that was bought in fractional shares there, but it's going to move a few cents. We're going to see that change. So it's going to move up from 10.31 up to, who knows, a couple more cents. So anything above $10 is going to be in green. Actually, $10 or above is the rule there. You can see HD just made the cut, and BlackRock is just above the line too. We're getting close with Merck once we get them above the line. Hopefully with this purchase, it's not going to put them above the $10 mark, but they usually announce their dividend increase. If I get a 6% dividend increase like last year, it's going to put it well above the $10 mark. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom and show you some other things that this sheet shows. The color key, we're in November, so we're in the medium greens. Then next month, December, will be in the dark greens. That's what the color key is about. My monthly pairs are in blue. Variable dividends, SCHD, in the purple. And if I sell a position and haven't received their last dividend, they'll be in yellow. Sometimes that happens if I decide to cut something out and they haven't paid their last dividend, they'll still show up. But once they do pay their last dividend, I delete that row. So here is the current market value of the portfolio, so I don't have to log into M1 and get updates. It's right there. And then here's my cost basis, and here's my gain or loss, including dividends. Here is the average yield of the portfolio of all these positions. Here is the average yield of my cost, and here is the quarterly dividends that this portfolio is paying, just over 3,000. We divide it by 3, we get an average monthly dividend. I look at this as like a monthly paycheck. You can look at this, quarterly and annual as well. So I put the current rates in here because these are going to change. We're going to grab some data from M1 because remember, in 4 positions, we've bought more fractional shares. 3 of them were the buys of the $100, and then the American Express was the dividend drip. You can see my strategy here, and I'll leave a link below to the sheet so you can see all this. You're welcome to use it. And I have some helpful links so I can look up like dividend raises that were announced. There were not any new ones this morning, at least for positions that I own. Dividend declarations, I use dividendinvestor.com. Let's just go check real quick and see if Yum Brands has announced their new dividend. And if they have, I can put in the new dates and then resort them. So this is what I do. It's just probably once a week I start checking the companies on the top, and you can see we're still at September 6th. You can see it shows September 7th on my sheet because M1 has a 1-day delay, so I put the actual pay date in here. So that's why there's a mismatch of 1 day there. So let's see what else here. This shows you SCHD. I've been tracking their dividends since 2022 when I started my position with SCHD. We can see how it's gone up. Of course, I have to do some adjustments since they did the 3-to-1 stock split. So we'll have to adjust those numbers. But, you know, the dividends have been going up and up year over year for SCHD. I just kind of wanted to show that. And also I have the high watermark from October 11th. We can see VTI, which a lot of my net worth is wrapped up into indexes like VTI, VTSAX, and we're up almost 5% just from October 11th alone. And you can see SCHD is lagging behind VTI as far as growth. So that's one thing to consider with SCHD is you're not going to get quite the growth of a total stock market index like VTI, but you can own less of it if you're going to live off of the dividends, which is my plan. But I recommend both. I'm not just a strict dividend investor. I invest in growth as well. But this to me though, it's nice to have something that pays me $1,000 a month. That's quite a significant amount of money to just have that roll in. I could just draw from this, take all the dividends, and the dividends are going to go up. Of course, that's dependent on the company's not cutting their dividend, but most of these companies are increasing their dividends year over year, and I track that here. You can see the last increases for each of these investments. So let's go grab some data over at M1. Hopefully we haven't timed out. We haven't. So what I do is I go to the Holdings tab, and once this load up again, 52 positions in here. You can see my cost basis, the value, the unrealized gain, and thank God we're not going to be taxed on unrealized gains. That would be pretty horrific to have to pay that, and I wonder how the government would resolve that when we have down years. Do we get a refund, or how does that exactly work? Thank goodness we don't have to worry about that. So everything in this portfolio is listed here from the highest value to the lowest. Just scroll through here real quickly so you can kind of see what I'm invested in. And some people would say, well, there's too many positions, but for me, it's a hobby. I like to track all this, and I believe in each of these positions for different reasons. And of course, what I'm doing, what I'm buying, is not investment advice. You have to do your own research and invest in what you think is right. And also, I would probably get some professional assistance as well. You can see, and then Pinnacle West, that's the smallest position. I'm going to scroll back up here, but there's really nothing crazy in the portfolio. Nvidia is obviously it does pay a dividend, that's why it's in the portfolio, but it's a growth play. So I've got a little bit of everything in here. I've got growth, I've got steady high paying dividends. Nothing too crazy though. Things that I think are safe, and income that I think I can count on for quite a long time. So what I've done is I grabbed all the data here from M1, and it's going to import the shares, the average price and cost basis into my sheet here, so I don't have to manually type in that data. All I've got to do is just do a paste on the M1 data tab. We're going to see these values change. So over in the M1 data tab, I do a paste special, and then it aligns those values over here, the shares cost basis average for each of the positions, just based off of everything that's in column A. So we'll go to the dividend portfolio tab, and we can see that here's an update here with Pepsi. So the last dividend that paid me on September 30th was $15.89, but the new one at the end of December is going to be $16.32. And then now Merck is close at $10 mark. We're going from $9.58 to $9.91. And then Hershey's, remember that was a small, it's like a $3 buy, $3 and change, going from $10.31 to $10.34. But every little bit does count. And when we go down here, we can see now the new monthly cash flow average, as well as quarterly and annual. Here is the old values. So from $1,000.01 to $1,000.27, from $3,000 82 or to $3,000.02 to $3,000.82, and then $12,000.08 to $12,003.28. You can see it doesn't make a huge difference with this, $100 buy and these the dividend drip for American Express, but I'm doing things all the time. I'm going to be dripping all these dividends, and I do 2 buys per week, and as well as dividend increases that are announced as well. We'll see in November, like F&F, I have not received their dividend increase. Let's see who else is due. HP is due for a dividend increase in November. Merck is due for one. And let's see, does that round out November? And ADP did announce they had a 10% increase, so I already got theirs. So their last dividend was 401, and then now they're going to pay 443 in January 2nd, 2025. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry this value, the $1,000.27. We're going to go to my monthly average dividend tracking tab, and this tracks all transactions that I do for like dividend drips, purchases, and dividend increases, as well as sales, or if there's a dividend cut, I'll also log that in. And so we're at the bottom of the screen. I accidentally did a control end and stop the video. So let's go to the bottom of the screen. And here is my entry for November 11th, the $1,000.01. We're going to go to $1,000.27. We'll put that in there. And the reason I track this is I like to track the progress of the portfolio and also show you guys how I got to this position of having dividends, over $1,000 in dividends. And I'm showing you, step by step with the buys and also the events that caused it. So we added 26 cents of monthly income, and that's 26 cents every month going forward. And that was because of the American Express dividend drip and the $100 deposit. And we'll see let's take a look at the events for November. We had Exxon had a 4% dividend increase. You had BST, JP Morgan dividend drip. Here's a $100 deposit and a Verizon dividend drip. And then here's ADP. There's that 10% dividend increase. PNC dividend drip. Here's a $100 deposit. That was from last week. And then here is Lowe's, their dividend drip, a whole penny, but it does make a difference. And then here's the American Express drip and the $100 deposit. So let's go on over to the Dividend Tracker tab. And I've been doing these videos since January 2021. And here's the portfolio value, $18,700. Here's the full dividends paid in January 2021. And you can see here I even track it at the quarterly level, quarter-on-quarter percent increase, and then the dollar amount increase. I started tracking the average monthly dividend. That's taking the dividends for the quarter and dividing it by 3 to kind of get a smooth rate, because you can see the dividends are a little bit lumpy. I don't get paid the same dividends. The months of March, June, September, and December pay the most dividends because most companies pay their dividends in the last month of the quarter. So I'm going to scroll down here and we'll get into 2024 here, and you can see the average monthly dividend now. We're over the $1,000 mark. Here's the monthly increase with my purchases, dividend drips, as well as dividend increases that are announced. So far in November, we're almost 2 weeks in, and I've increased the monthly income for the portfolio by $4.75. And then here's the month-over-month gain, almost 0.5% at 0.48. And here's the annual dividends. This is like this is like the monthly paycheck. This is the annual salary here of the portfolio. And I've increased the annual amount of the dividends by $57.04 just in November. We're going to put a extra $100 in there. You can see we're up to $300 in deposits. But just take a look at where the portfolio is at right now in January 2021. Let's go back last November. We're up quite a bit. So we're up about $65,000-ish dollars, right about there. And from November 2023 to 212,900 to 277,900. And let's just take a look at how much money I've kicked in. I've put in $7,800 in deposits, but look at the gain in just the appreciation of the stocks. Of course, part of that is dividends, being reinvested back into the portfolio. We can see here is the annual amounts in 2022. Actually, go back to 2021. I wasn't even over $1,000. Almost at $3,000 in 2022. In 2023, I got over $10,000. In 2024, here's where we're at so far. So we're not done yet. Here are the total dividends paid starting from January 2021. So that's running counter to $22,000 within this portfolio. So to close out the video, we're going to do a quick look at my net worth statements. And again, the dividend portfolio, that's about 15% of my total net worth. Here's where everything else is, and it's in ETFs at Vanguard. I have an IRA, a couple of IRA, traditional, Roth, and then I have a taxable brokerage account over at Vanguard. And then with T. Rowe, I have my 401k, and that's an S&P 500 fund, just crossed the $100,000 mark there. And I started my job with this in March 2020, so it hasn't taken that long to get it up over $100,000. And then here is at M1, I have an IRA over there as well, and that's valued over $718,000. Here's the dividend portfolio that we went into at length, the 277,964. At M1, I have a one-year emergency fund getting 4.5% interest. And then Synchrony, I have a 6-month emergency fund getting 4.3% interest. And then Capital One, I have a 2-month emergency fund there getting 4% interest. This is more of my account I use to pay bills, things like that. Here is my home value. I don't count any other assets like my home or collectibles, anything like that. To me, it's not even worth tracking. And because I'll always need a car, and if I sell it, chances are going to buy something else that's more expensive. So cars are really they're liabilities to me. They're not assets. And to certain you could rationalize too that a home is a liability as well. So even counting my home, my net worth, I think is a little bit iffy, but I do it anyway as motivation to pay it off. And here is my liabilities. Here's my current credit card balance, which I do not carry over. I do not pay interest on that. And then here is my mortgage balance here. And I've been adding to it, making extra principal payments on it to try to pay it off faster. Here is my total net worth, which subtracts out these two liabilities at $1,815,000. And that's going, up and down constantly depending on what the market is doing, because I am in stocks heavily. 87% pretty much of my net worth is wrapped up in stocks. So pretty volatile, but I know, how it works, and I expect just, market corrections and things like that, or even I'm prepared for a complete, stock market going down like 50%. And that would be a hard pill to swallow, but it's temporary. And in those cases, you just have to keep investing, actually invest even harder when you have market crashes. It's hard. It's counterintuitive because we only want to invest in things that only go up, but we need those crashes too to actually become millionaires. And a couple of those crashes have helped me out with the 2008s as well as COVID. I invested into both of those, which got me here. So we can see cash too. I'm carrying a lot of cash. We'll see what I do with that. I'm comfortable having a large emergency fund because of where I work. I work in IT, constant layoffs all the time, so that just helps me sleep at night. But you can see how I've even broken it down to pre-tax, like 401k IRAs, which I can't technically access and then here's my after-tax things I can actually access. And a lot of people have it, most people have all of their net worth wrapped up into their home or into their 401ks, things they really can't tap into to really help their situation out. And I even broke it down by US and international. And you can see here, here's my average monthly dividend with all of the assets and even interest in savings accounts. So if I was eligible to access my IRA 401k, the way they're currently invested with their dividends, here's my average monthly dividend from all sources, over $3,300. And I've also tracked my net worth as well as my income and expenses and gap. I think you should do this, and this does not include other things where I earn money. It's just my W-2 against my expenses. So I actually have a larger gap, but I try to keep this. I try to keep a gap even with just my W-2 income and expenses. Some months it doesn't work out, where I built a new home. I had some expenses involved with that transaction, so I wasn't able to have a gap there. So I was down $1,100. But you can see though, for most months, and some months like here in March, I had a nice month of plus 36.75. Here was the month of October. Had some large purchases in there, so only a $406 gap. But you can see though how my net worth has just exploded from November 2022, essentially 2 years ago, going from 1.284 to 1.742. We haven't closed out November yet, but you can see where we're at right now. You can just compare these, the current net worth from November. Let's just see how much it's increased. Let's do some quick math. And this is not due to I didn't win the lottery, and I didn't buy any, I didn't have a hot tip for a stock or anything like that. It's just been my index funds and just doing the same thing over and over. And over 2 years, I increased my net worth over $530,000 just by doing what I'm showing you guys. And that's why I do these videos, is just to show you this works. It's the slow way to get rich, but it's replicable. Someone posted my last video about Bitcoin and how it's doing, and that's fantastic. I hope this person, if you're listening, I hope you make multiples of what I'm making and do way better. But to me, I stay out of it, and I take Warren Buffett's advice as well as Charlie Munger. They when Charlie was alive, he even said he wouldn't touch Bitcoin, and those two know a whole lot more than I could ever know about investing. So I just stay out of it and stay with tried and true investments that have worked over, centuries. And of course, we're going to have some, market downturns, but that's expected. But that's all I had to have or show you guys for this video was, what I bought. Let's see if we timed out. I'll show you those buys real quick because I rambled and rambled for quite a while. We could see Hershey's, Merck, and Pepsi were my selections. Again, it was based off of my allocations. In American Express, that was a dividend drip. So let me know in the comments below what you think about these selections here. And also let me know what you're thinking about buying this week. I hope everyone has a great week, and everybody take care.